Great. So we've been running for 24 years, and actually, so if we count well, 2024 will be our 25th anniversary. And myself, I've been at EURODOC since March 2022. I feel we've moved mountains since I arrived, and it's been 1.5 years that have been very, very busy. But to come back to the history of EURODOC, this 25th birthday or anniversary will mark actually a special year because we'll program films that were developed at EURODOC in the last years, and so actually I'm sitting right now with Alexia. So you will be in touch with her as well. She's very busy on many tasks, but she's also the communication officer, and she will be also in charge of all the program for our anniversary. And so we've developed, we have about like 370 films that were developed at EURODOC. And so the mission to select some films to screen online next year is very difficult because we have a catalog of incredible documentary films that when they're programmed internationally that we need to select and screen. And so if you join the program and if your film is your project is selected, once your film will be finished, it will join this catalog of incredible films that we try to screen on a regular basis. So right now we have 1,600, actually now 700 because the year is over, active members from 60 countries worldwide, from all continents. And they are active producers, but also filmmakers and decision makers, commissioning editors. The goals of the program are many, but to sum up things, I can say that we focus on the development of projects. We still focus on documentary. We work only on non-fiction projects, and we work on projects that have an international potential or that you want your project to reach an international potential and an international distribution, and we will help you out in reaching this goal. We provide insights about many aspects on what it means to produce films. So this has to do with, of course, creating or managing and developing your company. Usually it's small or medium-sized companies. I should remind you that there is no shame in being one person or two people in your company. You might remember, Dana, you attended the masterclass of Kauser Benrania in October, a month ago. We invite an important filmmaker every month of October. Last year it was Raoul Peck. This year it was Kauser Benrania, who made 4 Daughters. That was an official selection in Cannes. That is representing Tunisia at the Oscars this year. And Kauser is an alumna from EURODOC. Her producers also attended EURODOC, and her producer on this film, 4 Daughters, and on her previous films, Nadim Sheikhoura, who's based in Paris, he's the only man in his company. He's just one-person company, and he's taking his films to Cannes, to Le Corner, to Venice, and to the Oscars. So don't feel, Christina, you were saying, we have no choice of like producing our own films or being small companies. Well, you have to bear in mind that many great and important films that, also make it to the box office and make it internationally, make it to the Oscars, or sometimes just, produced by, one person company. So what we also focus on primarily is international cooperation. So that means that we will give you tools and expertise in international co-production. Of course, we will give you the network. So within the cohort, within the program, you will meet, let's say, about 60, 70 producers from worldwide. and about the same amount of senior producers, experts, and decision makers whom you will meet. So within the program, over these 8 months, you will actually like physically in real life meet and make and build this international network. Of course, because we are EU funded, we are funded by Europe, we also have to focus on the European countries that have low production capacities, but again, not only. And then what I really want to enhance today and highlight is that we also really want to foster, solidarity, ethics in our filmmaking and production practices, so that within the program, but also after. So once you're out of the program and you're an alumna or an alumnus, then you will share some common values with your fellow producers who attended the program, and with whom you will be co-producing after you leave the program. So it's important because it means that once you're a EURODOC alumna, an alumnus, it means that you have fellows that share the same ideas and same values in terms of what it means to produce and co-produce. Concretely, the program is divided in 3 sessions. The first session is held in March, the second session is held in June, and the third session is held in October. So have a look at my slide for a second. I need to plug my computer.
Yeah, while we have time. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, nice. Hopefully, yeah. So while Nora is away for a second, I would say that we would spend this hour with Nora, and then the next hour we would spend, as Christina mentioned, with Kismat, Adrian, and Renko, who were participants with me this year. So you can ask Nora a question after her presentation, but after we would discuss with the participants as well. Please continue, Nora.
Yes, thank you, Dana. So, I mean, again, I think it was Patrick that told me something that was very enlightening. And he told me that he told me that what was so valuable at EURODOC was that it was not about teaching. It was about transmission. It was about transmission from senior producers to more junior producers. So this has to do with a community building, and this has to do with you're joining a community that you will then nourish actively, and so that's why it's so meaningful. That thank you, Dana, again for inviting your fellows from 2023, because indeed, of course, as a team, we organize many get-togethers at festivals, many events, many online events, but it's also you yourselves that will also, foster this community. And what's so moving, when I arrived at EURODOC, I realized that producers who are 60, 70, who attended EURODOC in 2000, who are now really established producers, keep coming to the get-togethers, keep coming at ITFA, at Cannes, and want to meet the more, the younger producers at EURODOC. So this is an active and generous network. So session 1, session 2, and session 3 are scripted in terms of what you will work on is kind of different at every session. Of course, you will continue working on development questions, but we kind of focus on the artistic development over session 1. So what does it mean? It means that you will focus on the writing of your project, how to artistically develop either the story, the protagonists, the dramaturgy, basically the script, but also the trailer, the relationship to the protagonist between the triangle, between the producer, the filmmaker, and the characters. But also you will work on legal aspects, because you cannot build a sound, healthy development scheme without healthy contracts. So you will focus on the contracts between production and filmmaker. And then over session 2, you will focus on more like technical production aspects. That is to say, also, so the legal aspects of co-production, your co-production strategy, financing, your financial plan, and how you will also build an international strategy and a distribution strategy. Will you work with television? Will you work for theaters? Will you work with platforms? Do you need a co-production with Korea, Norway, or Chile, or you don't need it? Do you need a co-producer inside your country? Do you need to co-produce with a director? Do you need to co-produce with an institution because they have archives, etc., etc.? And what is your strategy with this trailer? Is it the moment you should liaise with a distribution? Is it the moment you will liaise with this platform, or should you wait at that moment, etc.? So all these aspects are tackled. Are tackled over session 2. And then between session 2 and session 3, because you will be meeting the decision makers over session 3, you will have some homework. You will recraft a final version of your project and of your trailer. And this shortened version of your project, that is to say what we call a pitch deck, will be sent to your tutors first, so that they review it, they give you some feedback, and then you finalize a pitch deck by the end of August. And this new pitch deck and this new trailer will be sent to the decision makers, so they have homework on their side, and then they will audit your pitch decks and your trailers. They meet about between 10 and 15 people. And then over the session in October, the third and final session, you will meet them. So within 8 months, you have to, of course, develop your project, rewrite it, remake a trailer, and then in October, you will meet decision makers. So they will not buy your project on site and on spot. It hasn't got to do with like a market or a forum or a pitching session. It has to do with building long-lasting relationships with decision makers whom you will meet again and again at festivals. It takes the form of one-to-one meetings, so you won't be like collectively on a stage pitching your project. It's going to be one-to-one meetings that last 45 minutes with experts who come to meet you. They are not here, to watch films or network or go to cocktails. It's not a festival, it's not a market. They're coming within a pedagogical program, and they're coming to meet you. And I will later on in this presentation, I will also show you a typical schedule of one session. So yeah, I mean, this is what you see on the slide. So through the program, you will meet up to 65 fellow producers and up to 50 decision makers worldwide. So yeah, this is, I can maybe enlarge a bit. Yeah, so this is a typical schedule of session 1. Every session has a different schedule, but this is a good way, a concrete way for you to see how we organize the group work with your tutors, one-to-one meetings, masterclasses. For instance, last session 1 in Germany, we run one masterclass about editing, one masterclass about how to make wise legal decisions and craft healthy contracts. And of course, the tradition goes, the tradition of case study has been running since like 20 years. So we have 2 case studies, 2 screenings in theaters at every session of like, usually it's either projects that were developed at EURODOC or alumni who are presenting another film. And it's the case studies present extraordinary films, of course, but also production and co-production stories. Producers come and through a Q&A after the screening will share the full story of how they made the film. And it's not about self-promotion. It's not about fairy tales. It's really about talking about failures, talking about all the no's that you got through the production process, about all the difficulties and yeah, the hardships that you can go through when you produce. And what you can see in the schedule too is in like green, like the co-production bistro, the presentations. Same thing here, planning session 2, you can see that introduction, participants presentation, co-production bistro. You have special moments where you will meet within the cohort and with also the local groups. So this is the planning of session 3. So at session 3, the decision makers will be in your own position too. They have to pitch what they do. And again, it's not about self-promotion, about, hey, we have a wonderful program on our TV channel and we are inclusive and we make the greatest film and we have lots of money. No, it's really about telling the truth about the money that they can put on the table, the type of rights they will ask for, the type of also the selection process, and it has to be pragmatic and also really straightforward in terms of funds. And yeah, I will go back to the question of local group and international cohort afterwards. Every year we appoint new international experts to audit the applications we receive. So it's an independent committee, but that includes our tutors. So we have 7 tutors over the year, but the main tutors are the ones which tutor the 2 groups within the international cohort. So when you apply to the annual group, you have to tell us a bit about the languages that you can you master. And so we have 1 French-speaking group and 1 English-speaking group. So this means that the 30 people within the international cohort are divided into 2 working groups, because it's not like in college, or it's not like big groups listening to someone. It's really and I think that Dana and Renko and Adrian, and Keshmat will also talk about the method and how it works. But it's of course it's supervised. The work is supervised by the tutor, but then it's really it's really based in collective work. So our selection committee this year, of course, comprises the 2 tutors, Jean-Laurent Xenidis and Heino Deckert, and myself, but also 3 invited guests. So Palmyre Balinier, who's based in Switzerland. She's French, based in Switzerland, but she's mainly worked with the Arab world. So she speaks Arabic and knows very well cinema, the film industry from the Arab world and MENA countries. Suleiman Kebe is a producer based in Senegal. He brought one of it was a really beautiful film in Cannes in official selection, a Senegalese fiction. So he does fiction and documentary, and he knows very well the African documentary and fiction world, but also of course Europe. He's based in Europe. And he's a very generous producer. And Getty Félin is based in the US. She's from Haiti and the US, and she knows very well the two Americas and the Caribbean. And she will be our tutor at the Caribbean workshop that we are holding in the Dominican Republic in a month. So and Palmyre has been a tutor for several years, so they all know very well how we work at EURODOC. So these are our 2 beloved tutors, Heino based in Germany and Jean-Laurent based in France. They are from West Europe, but they very know Western Europe, but they very well know international co-production, and they co-produce with many producers and filmmakers from other continents. To give you an instance of our EURODOC 23 experts, these are the great humans that we invited and professionals. But I have to be quick. Um, and they are so about a third of our decision makers are new every year, and the 2/3 come back every year, and they're very loyal to the program. And so we try to balance newcomers and faithful professionals who come back. So how do we design our international cohorts? So because we are funded by EU, we have to select 70% of European citizens who can be based elsewhere. So we love having Danish producers based in Brazil, or French people who work from India, and or just Portuguese producers who produce filmmakers from Sudan based in Argentina. That's the kind of of landscape we work with, and 30% are non-European citizens. But so what we do is that through scholarships and through other specific programs, we try to include more non-European citizens. But this is kind of non-official because we have to, again, respect this European rule. And what's important to know is that 80% are project holders. So that means that you're selected over a project that you're currently developing, and 20% are professionals, so producers without a project. But you are at a key moment in your career, and you need some empowerment and to strengthen your knowledge either of production, or also strengthen your network. In terms of projects, so it's kind of open in terms of genre. We are really open to any kind of writing, any kind of format. What we accept is feature-length projects and creative documentary series. What we don't really consider is when your project is really commercial, not creative, and when there is no director attached. So you cannot come up with maybe a great project, but saying, oh, there is no author or there is no director. This is not possible. And otherwise, it can be investigation, it can be really experimental, it can be subjective first-person projects, it can be only archive, it can be it can be animation. We have every year we have animated documentary projects. So again, the more creative and the more ambitious your project is, the more it will need development, and the more then it will need our program. In terms of career and what age you should have, or at what moment of your career you should be at. Again, what we want to do is to have the most diverse cohorts. So our participants can be between 25 and 55, more or less. It could be more. It's been more than 50. Actually, we had a producer who had been a photographer, a very successful photographer, but working only on, like, he was a paparazzo, basically, a very successful paparazzo. And at some point he decided that this moment in his life was over, and that he wanted to make films. And he was 60 when and he's a great successful producer now. He joined EURODOC in 22. So there is no ideal age, but in terms of career, you have to have some experience already. You cannot be a super junior producer. So what we advise, the way that we select producers, that it's better if you have already produced a feature-length documentary or co-produced several. And this film needs to have had some kind of international exposure, okay? So we do not define this international exposure in a Eurocentric way, of course, but it still needs to be, out of your, only national distribution. And also we really we pay special attention with to producers who are like in a moment where either they've been hired in like a bigger company, or they're about to leave the company where they stayed for 10 years to launch their new company, or they've just launched their company and they need to strengthen their management, strategic, legal expertise, etc. And for your knowledge, we have other programs than the annual media program. We have EURODOC Caribbean every December for 1 week, and EURODOC Mediterranean for 1 week also, once a year. So EURODOC Caribbean was held in Martinique last year, in the Dominican Republic this year, and elsewhere. It's a traveling program as the media program. And EURODOC Mediterranean is open to all producers in the Mediterranean region, north and south, with a focus on Arab countries, and it's held every April or May. It's been in Corsica. It's a French island in the Mediterranean, but it's it will travel. That was our Mediterranean cohort this year, and it was a great. So because it was like more a local group and a shorter session, they were more junior and they were really like in early development. It was like really early development for this group. Like the writing was not over. While in the Caribbean group that was last year, somewhere in pre-production, at the pre-production stage, and they were kind of experienced producers. They had produced for like 10 or 15 years. So it depends. But what I can advise you is I mean, imagine that you will meet over one project, you will meet decision makers in October 24. So if your project is too raw, is too early, is too green, then you will meet the decision makers with something that is still not ready. And if your project is like fully financed and like short, and you only need a bit of gap financing or just distribution and festivals, then maybe it's not that useful. Okay, so your project needs to be at the right stage. And I can't be too long, but you will also have access to a rich online program from, let's say, from February to October included. And so it can be webinars, masterclasses, other workshops on specific themes. It can be archive, it can be, ethics, it can be eco-prod. So we've had workshops on eco-friendly practices and incentives. A week ago, it can be panels on how to navigate specific markets or specific funds as well. So this is just a bit of instances. And we are very proud to have launched the BIPOC group this year. It's a group that you can join if you wish, if you're interested. We will start advertising actually now for the 2024 program. It was more experimental this year, but it's also, so again, there are facilitators that, there will be a specific set of online meetings, online masterclasses, and there will be meetings in real life during sessions, but it's also based on what you want to share and how you want to organize or self-organize within the group. What we hope is that by, next year, and especially also through the Caribbean group, there will be about 25 or 30 people in the group, which is already, this is a task force, and this can wait and really help us, help you change the industry towards an industry that is more inclusive, that is, more aware of its privileges and of its like long history of exclusion. So we are working on that, and we really wish to have more producers and producers who produce films from underrepresented communities. So I really want to highlight that it's not about having a corporate policy of diversity, but it's really about changing the game, and again, making sure that there are far more BIPOC producers and filmmakers who are represented in the industry and who have access to the funds. Without having to whiten or just change their stories. In terms of impact, this data is on our website. We have, again, we are a nonprofit, and we have really a majority of public funds from France and from Europe. So we need to really monitor
our impact. So again, that's why we bother you a lot with forms and satisfaction forms, and we have to gather data. So yeah, the impact is what we can monitor is actually great, either in terms of like, you know, how the films get completed, or the kind of co-production you can build after participating in the program. Same thing with Branko. Branko's here. There was a very nice, safe, helpful atmosphere. So that's what, yeah, we're quoting you. Aurélien, Mamunata, so yeah, Kesmat as well. So yeah, all of you are here in the feedback quotes. Sarah was there last year. Also, you can see Asma El Moudir from Inside Films in Morocco. She's actually a director and a producer, a very, very gifted one, a very talented one, very brave producer and director. And she made it to Cannes. She developed her film for almost 10 years. And she made it to Cannes this year. And now she's representing Morocco at the Oscars. And Asmail will come for case studies in 2024. Daria, we have a strong connection with Ukraine. We have not waited for the war, and actually the war has, you know, actually not started in 2022. Ukraine was under attack since way before, and we've had almost every year Ukrainian participants. So pictures, because we're talking about humans again, and connections and friendships. And yeah, so this is the data that we have. I was talking about, yeah, 370 films that were developed in our program. And this is the type of films that go through EURODOC and that come to life. I'm sure you've seen many of them, and if you haven't, you should, because they're wonderful films. Recent EURODOC films, The Matter of All Eyes, I was talking about, Against the Tide, Will Not Fade Away. Most of them have been nominated for the best documentary at the European Film Academy lately. Nits Island, a great film shot in a video game. That's a good, you know, a proof that we're really open to any kind of genre. Pure Known as well, which is a beautiful film, and that was our 2023 cohort. So you can see some of our attendees today. I can't see you, Dana. Where you were hiding somewhere?
Yeah, I'm next to Heine in the back.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see you now. So yeah, so let's end this presentation with some concrete elements that, of course, are important for you to know. So the cost of the training. So because we are EU funded, if we were not a non-profit that gets grants, the tuition fees would be, I guess, I don't know, the American way. It would be like 20K for 1 year. So we make it, of course, it's far lower. So it's 3,000 euros for European producers and 1,500 for non-European producers. Why? Because we consider that indeed European producers have usually more money, but also they will spend less to travel to our sessions, since our sessions are held in European countries. So it's less expensive for non-European producers. And then we have observers from institutions and TV channels, and they pay 3,200 euros because it's their institutions that pay the fee. So the tuition fee is for the whole program, okay, from February online to October for the 3 sessions. Then there is the residential fee, because the way that we work is that these sessions are residential. We are all together. We eat together from breakfast to dinner. We have coffee breaks together, and we are in the same hotel. So from Sunday to Saturday. So this has a cost, and it's called the accommodation cost or residential cost, and it's a full package, and it's about 1,000 euros for every session. And unfortunately, prices have skyrocketed from, like, when it comes to food and hotels in Europe. Inflation, the war, I mean, it's difficult. So now it's about 1,100 for every week. And so this means that it's 3,300. And then there's the travel cost. We don't touch to the travel cost. It's your own arrangements. But what we do is that we also offer scholarships, or we can help you look for scholarships that can either support you for travel costs or accommodations costs or tuition fees. So this is what we this is what the kind of support that we can grant you. We help about 30% of the total members of total member of participants each year, and of course priority is given to people who come from low production capacity countries, and it's really tailor-made. So it depends on what you will mention in your application. It depends on your situation. It depends on the country, your citizenship, and also you have to prove that you've tried, you've applied to some schemes in your own country or region, and if either there is no institution that can help you or that you've been rejected, then we will craft a tailor-made scholarship program for you. We cannot waive the entirety of the accommodation costs or the tuition fees, but we do our best. And we also have private sponsors sometimes who can help you out on the travel expenses. And so, yeah, this is the kind of scholarships we can offer. And again, it also depends on the countries where we go. So next year we'll be in Germany, in Weimar, over session 1. Session 2 will be in Scotland, thanks to a partnership with the Scottish Documentary Institute. And the third session will be north of France, as in 2023. And this also means, so when we are going to a region or a country, it means that there was also a local group that will be trained for 1 week. So this means that for you, if you're in the international cohort, this means that you will be able to meet the producers from the local group. So German producers, Scottish producers, and French or Swiss producers, and we kind of open up also the local groups. Sometimes we have other scholarships, so it's maybe the Scottish group won't be only Scottish, and same thing with the German group, and of course through special partnerships, we sometimes go to other continents and other countries. So, I mean, I can see that you're many in your own region. So we could very well imagine that we can also hold a session it's happened. We've organized sessions in West Africa and Canada. So we can also actually travel to your regional country. But for the international program, it can only be held concretely in Europe. So our application process is very detailed on our website, so I won't be long on that matter. But one thing is sure, the deadline is November the 20th, so you have to kind of hurry, but you still have 2 weeks, so we're not asking for so many elements. It's rather standard, but what is really important is that we have to really understand why you want to apply to EURODOC, but why do you want to apply to EURODOC with that project? Why does this project need development, empowerment, and strengthening? Why do you need EURODOC at this moment of this project and at this moment of your career? We have to really understand your motivation. And it can be a video letter, it can be just a motivation letter. And then, of course, the standard elements on your project. So in English. And that's about it. That was our cohort with the decision makers a month ago. It seems to, it was a century ago, right? Smiling faces, and it was not just for the photographer, I believe. It was a very joyful moment, and that's it. So these are all our partners. And of course, every year there are new partners who come on board, and all the festivals also. I have no time to go into this, but we have many partnerships with many festivals, so we can also help you lobby for your project and your pitches, and help you out at getting some access, let's say. And we hold get-togethers and cocktails at ITFA, Vision du Réel, Cinéma du Réel, and Cannes as well, of course, CPH Docs. So these are moments where there are reunions and where you can, of course, network. in a easy and friendly way. So this is our team. This is actually an all-female team. We're 4 in the office. Marie is the coordinator, Milan is the administrator, Alexia deals with communication and also helps Marie with coordination. We are reachable. So do not hesitate. And that's it. I will stop sharing my screen. And I'm back. And yeah, let's. I can see that Elia has had her hand raised for a while. So if you have any questions, anything, we're here to answer. And otherwise, of course, Kesmat and Norenko and Adrian, hello, are there to also talk about their experience. I don't even need to be there. I mean, you can also talk, within yourself, within your producers community, not with the permanent team being there. It's as you wish, but here we go.
So I'm pretty sure that some of our producers have some questions. Do we still time to answer some questions, Nora? I will double check with you.
Yeah, but maybe, I mean, it depends on, of course, but then it can also, I mean, we have incredible EURODOC alumni here who can also maybe share their experience and advise you. So the only frustrating aspect of this is that we don't have so much room in our international cohort. So that's, so that's the only thing. So yeah, I wish we had more fundings and more room to organize, to have like bigger cohorts. I wish we can travel, I mean, to Kazakhstan or elsewhere in Central Asia if we organize it. One last thing that is also one answer to your question, Christina, is that again, we are EURODOC, we are based in Europe. We will still work on like making healthy and fruitful connections with Europe. But so many EURODOC alumni then ended up organizing their own Euro-Asia, American doc in their own India, Cameroon doc in their own region. So, and even if we travel, then we can organize something with, of course, not bringing just European people, but making it local. And then it's up to you to self-organize and to make your own network and to make your own training lab so that you have full agency on what you're doing in your region and in your country, okay? So it's just about a transition, maybe. If you don't have the tools right now, then we work together, and then you will develop your own network and your own funds, and yeah, that's the history to come, I believe.
Yeah, that's also what we are thinking about. Asia Doc, thank you for this beautiful name, Central Asia Doc. And so Mika Myriet was the first one. So Mika, do you have a question?
Yes, thanks. It's a quick one. Thank you, Nora and guys, Dan and Christina, for bringing us together here. Yeah, my name is Mika, and my question is maybe of technical nature, I guess. So should I have some kind of company, or I can just apply for this opportunity as an individual? Thanks.
Yes, thank you for your question. So absolutely. So again, diversity, the diversity of profiles count in our cohort. So we have people who have who are like partners, associates. So they have like founded their company, or they've become partners in like older companies, or they are freelance. So you can absolutely be freelance, but your project must be attached to a company when you apply. You see? So there needs to be some kind of structure of company attached to your project, which means that you also are attached to a company through this project, or like in general. But so because this link, this connection between a director, a project, a company, and you must be established when you apply. It happens that it changes through the process. Like some producers have left the company they were producing the product with through the process, because the program, I mean, the work that they did with their tutors and mentors actually showed that there was something wrong. So, decisions can be made. But still, when you're applying this, you know, there's 4 elements: company, producer, director, project, must be a whole.
Okay, super. So Camila next will be next, right? Camila?
Thank you, Christina. I wanted to ask you, considering the competitive nature of this program on a global scale, is there any indulgence for us applicants from Central Asian region, given the challenges we face? And also, I wanted to ask, is there any chance of being accepted if I'm both a director and a producer of my project? Because in this region, and especially in Uzbekistan, we have like not so many producers to work with. Thank you.
So, indulgence. No, it's a strength. It's a wealth. That, I mean, we make sure to again to have a mix of producers who come from like wealthier countries, who, you know, have lots of privileges and benefits from the situation where they are, and producers who come from, again, low capacity countries. We have, how could I say, it mustn't be only about like identity. We believe that it's just a state of things. We wish, we consider that maybe in the next years or decades, you will not be anymore in the situation of, you know, belonging to a low capacity region. But the thing is, so Central Asia has not, you know, again, has just a few public funds and is a low capacity region, but there are many others in the world. So we also focus again on the Caribbean, on, you know, sub-Saharan Africa, and on MENA countries. So we try to make sure that there's at least, you know, 1 people or 2 people who represent some kind of regions in the world. It's not something that we can guarantee, but it's because it's not math. It depends also on the projects and applications. But yeah, we just want to make sure that also the outcome of our selection process conveys what happened in the application. So we do map we do count, you know, all the applications that come from, it's many aspects, you know, female, male, non-binary, regions, it's many things, first film, debut films, seasoned producers, junior producers. We kind of mix everything so that the cohort at the end represents what we had, what we received in terms of applications. Okay, so that's one answer. The second answer is that you can absolutely be a director and a producer. We know that specifically in low capacity regions, it's difficult to be just only a producer or only a director. What we want to highlight is that it's very difficult to be I mean, what's important to know is that we must feel that you're a producer, and that you're not only a producer to produce your own films because you're primarily a director, you know? So you can be a director, you can be a producer, but if you come to EURODOC with a project, it's really better for you to come with a project that you're not directing yourself, okay? It's better. It's really better. We have to feel that as a producer, yes, you produce your own films. And I mean, so many important directors and producers, you know, are in the same position. But you have to be a producer also. So this means that you produce other people and other projects.
Yep, thank you so much for this answer. So Gulnoza will be the next one. And we have Asimgul. So 2 more questions, Nora, and then we will let you. Okay, so Gulnoza, go forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Nora, for presentation. My question is a bit similar to Christina's one, but I would like to ask anyway. So for me personally, my project and the current stage of development of my society, as I feel it, the key point is to work on my own identity and not be Eurocentric or Western oriented or neoliberal oriented. So does EURODOC provide an opportunity within the framework of the program to work with a wide range of different design making institutes? And will your program allow me to preserve the local vibe of the project, which would be close to my people and not just to an international audience?
Well, thank you again for this question. Yes, so one of the participants this year, who comes from, let's call it the Global South. I'm more and more critical with this notion, but let's call it this way, from a country where there are no funds, no nothing. And she's a really seasoned producer, and she's the head of her like local organization for filmmakers, etc. And I asked her, it was in a one-to-one meetings, and I asked her, okay, what's your okay, let's aim high, and just what's your ideal premiere? Like, where do you want to see the film screened in the first place? And she was like super professional, and she told me Venice. And I told her, great, great, but like you're not paying yourself, you won't make any money, the film will be great, but like, why do you make this film? Do you really make this film to be in the Mostra in 2 years? And she told me, wait, no, I want this film to be screened in that village, because it's actually, the story is about, will resonate with this village where actually my parents were born. And, you know, I mean, this is just dust roads. You cannot, you know, there's no train, no car. I mean, it's a very specific, and I want the film to be screened there. This is like, mentally, this is where this is where I am. When I go through hardships with the production of the film, this is where I am. This is my aim. And I was like, not only you have to cling to this, but you have to tell people this. This will change the industry. It's not only going to get, but at the same time, from my position, I'm a white woman from France. So this can be also very offensive to say, hey, you should think about, you know, a screening, you know, in your village, because I cannot say this. But I was like, hey, but navigate with that, like navigate with that. You can decide that, yeah, you'll go to Venice, but you also go to the village, because this is what I mean. Okay, so we are working on this on these 2 levels. That's what I can tell you. Yeah, but it takes it. We have to be together in this effort, you know.
Они говорят, что вот каждый год они, оказывается,
проводят. Oh, sorry, I guess that someone interrupted us. He did.
Yeah, I have technical agency on this problem, so I did.
Thank you so much, Nora. I guess Gulnoza, did Nora answer your question? Okay, super. And I didn't have a chance to introduce Asyumgul. Actually, we have a documentary committee here about 2 sisters who do stand up in Astana in Kazakhstan. And Asyumgul is one of the director and producer of the project. And I'm really want to pass her the ball to ask her question. Asyumgul, can you hear us? Yeah, you're here. You're. Oh, we cannot hear you.
Not yet.
Yep.
Hello. Excuse me for my laying down position. I'm during breastfeeding, becoming mother at 42. So my question, maybe it's kind of like asking some personal advice from Nora, and maybe Nora, knowing not only opportunities of EURODOC, can advise something useful for us. So right now we're going to post-production phase. I'm shooting right now a documentary about 2 female stand-up artists in Kazakhstan. And this is a twin sisters. One of them open lesbian, the first open lesbian comedian in Kazakhstan. Second one, female female rights activist. So in terms of dramaturgy, it's difficult, challenging for me, because I want to keep balance between these 2 sisters. One is extrovert, another one introvert. Yes, an extrovert, of course, having a lot of activities on camera. Introvert mostly sitting or laying down on sofa. So the question is, how to reach editors for consultation, and what kind of opportunities maybe EURODOC or another organization having for this phase of, because yes, pitching, dramaturgy, thinking about it at the very beginning, it's really good, but when you come into editing, of course, it's kind of like nightmare. Oh my God, I have so many tons of footage. Where should I go with this story? So my question was about this, about some kind of maybe personal advice. Okay, thank you.
Yes. And thank you for attending. Thank you for attending in this moment. So we are a development program. So we talk about editing a lot, but we are not choosing. I mean, it's not about choosing, but it's just the program is not focused on films that would be at the editing stage or in production, post-production. So there are some programs which are, I guess, really good in Europe. I don't know elsewhere, but several are really designed for to strengthen and to help, just consultations and tutoring around like editing. And you come with your footage, you come with your filmmaker or the editor, and you have, feedback over the rough cut, etc., etc. We don't do that specifically, but of course, you will share. I mean, within the program, we'll talk about your trailer, we'll talk about your footage, we'll talk about which editors should you use and how you choose an editor, at what moment you might have to decide that this editor is just maybe great, but not good for the project. And it's at the stage where you need to change or you need to have consultations. So these are things that we do tackle. And the thing is, of course, it's normal that you're asking yourself these questions at this stage. But what we do and what we encourage you to do at EURODOC is that from the development stage, you have to build like a very strong community around your project, also of editors who can come on board at the moment where you need a fresh gaze on your project, another editor who will consult and who will come and maybe, give you some feedback. And this kind of thing, you have to prepare. You have to, it's at the development stage, and it's also something that you can add in the credits of your project. Like, hey, we have, this editor on board, but we'll have also other editors. So you see, but maybe also, I mean, Adrian and Renko could also talk about this. How do you manage? How do you prepare? How do you get ready for the editing stage? And how do you make sure that you will also have editors on board? But another thing is, and it's out of my control, and that's great. It's also, within your cohort, you make friends with other producers, and I know that many alumni ask other producers who were part of the program to watch a rough cut, to watch this version of the editing, just to have a fresher gaze, and so that you can, you have you send a screener, and then you do talk among yourselves actually to have some advice. So that's usually what happens. I do receive some rough cuts and some, but I haven't got time to like watch all the rough cuts of the alumni, but I do sometimes give some advice, especially before, like when you apply to a festival, we can, it happens, but it's among the cohort that you can get some feedbacks.
Yeah, actually, it's the first time.
I cannot, and I cannot comment on your, on your film. I mean, I commend that you're talking about, especially, LGBT questions and characters. It's absolutely great. And it's typically the kind of project we will encourage at EURODOC, so that I can say. But then I cannot comment on the dramaturgy and the editing, because I don't have enough elements. But again, I would be very curious to have to know more. So don't hesitate to write to me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nora, for also this answer. And Sunguli, also thank you so much, because it's first time baby attending our session. So we are like Asia baby doc. We are going the next level. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
actually, I don't know if Nora, other babies attended EURODOC previously, but actually in EURODOC 2023, there were a baby at our last session. So you can be a producer from very young time. Yeah, Nora, thank you so much for your time. We used more that we think, but it was really, really helpful for us. Thank you so much. And please, everybody who were here with us at the session, apply. If you have any questions regarding the application or anything else, we are open with Christina to answer it, and EURODOC team as well. So please, and don't stretch it out to the last day as well.
Yes, yes. So again, yeah, I don't want to be discouraging in terms of like of you know, the figures of our cohort. Please apply also, because it happens very often that we cannot select you on the first application, but then on the second, you know, on the second round, on the, you know, the year after. And again, if we happen to organize a specific session for your region, it can actually happen. Sometimes we have some funding, or even in Europe, but for you, I mean, it can happen. We can also, you know, one last thing. Okay, so regarding travel expenses and scholarships, it happens that French institutions apparently in your region are kind of active and do give scholarships for your travel expenses. And it's Institut Français, the French embassy. I've seen them again yesterday. I had a meeting with them yesterday, and I was telling them, you know, there are great talents in Central Asia. They need support. We have more and more applications from them from there. So please support them, because they need they need some you know, some cash just for their travel expenses. So the more we have your applications, that the more we identify you, and the more we can push for some private sponsors and public sponsors from Europe, actually for you. Okay, so this is yeah, this has an impact. It's not, don't tell yourself, hey, you know, I'm applying, but there's not room, you know, not enough room. I mean, it's the same consideration for people from Norway, from people from Portugal or France. There's not much room in the cohort, but still, if you apply, we have your name, you're in our, you know, in our database. We send you, you know, information, and we can push for local and for local funding. That's what I wanted to add. So, well, enjoy the rest of this this meeting, and thank you again, Renko, Kesmat, and Adrian, for, you know, making the community alive. That's super important. That's exactly the meaning of what we're doing. So yeah. So
Thank
I
you so
guess I
much,
will see
Nora.
you at ITFA, the three of you, and Dana and Christina, thank you again for holding this event, and well, looking forward to reading your applications projects this year, or another one.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Take
Taking
care.
part.
Bye-bye.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. So Dana,
Yeah.
would you introduce your friends from EURODOC for us?
Sure.
I really wanted to say before that actually we applied together with Dana with River Dreams twice. So Nora said the right advice. We just got it after the second application, just for your information. So Dana, go forward.
Yeah, actually, I'm super happy that Nora had some more time for us to ask her some questions. But I really happy that participants from this year joined us today. I actually really missed all of them. I realized right now. Maybe we could start with Adrian. Adrian is a producer, and he's doing his first fiction documentary with a Ukrainian documentary director. And he, as well as we with Christina, participated in Synedoc Tbilisi mentoring program. Actually, we met with Adrian there. And Adrian and I were in EURODOC this year as well. So maybe Adrian could share with us what did change in his mind after he participated in EURODOC, and maybe specifically with his work as a producer with a co-producer. What changed for him after the program? Please, Adrian, the floor is yours.
All right. First of all, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah, apologies. I'm in a cafe right now. I'm a bit on the road, so apologies for the extra noise, but I hope you can understand me. First of all, so happy to see you guys. I miss you guys too. So thank you for inviting me here, this meeting, and Nice to see Christina, who you've been talking about so much, your director, finally. All right. So to answer your question, so I'm based in Romania right now, and I used to live in Ukraine. And my colleague and partner Helena Maxiom, she decided to join the army and the Ukrainian army. So she's making a film about her experience as a soldier in the Ukrainian war. And basically, we we had nothing. We were the team was just me and her. She was filming. I was helping her out however I could. And yeah, we decided, and both of us directed together. So this is my first time producing a feature length document. So basically, I had to figure out how we are gonna produce this film for Helena while she's there. And so I obviously I did a lot of applications last year to pitches. I got many rejections also, as it happens in the process. So to be brief, I applied to EURODOC, and Nora was right when she said, like, what's your motivation, proper motivation to do this? Because although our project was current affairs, also about some of the topics that EURODOC cares about, I also spoke about why it was so important for me to be at EuroDoc because I didn't have much experience as a producer. I wanted to be immersed in this environment where there were other documentary producers that I could learn from. And I wanted to take the project through this development process where I understood a lot of these, got answered a lot of these questions that were unknown for me. So when I first went to the first session, after our project got accepted, I really thought I was the most inexperienced. I mean, my preconception was that I would be the most inexperienced person there, that I didn't know anything, that I should shut up and listen. And I'm very bad at shutting up, as my friends here can attest. Um, so, but I noticed that the levels of experience were quite varied. There were people who were very experienced, people who were like me at the beginning of the journey, directors who are also producers who are also directors, so a little bit of every one, and it was mixed. Um, I mean, beyond the quality of the education that you get there from the mentors and the experts that come along, just I think that's only 50% of what you get there, because what you actually get there, the other half is, or maybe even more, is the people in your cohort, the people you interact with, and how you share experience. So how the project changed for us. We basically didn't have much of in the budget. I had a very basic idea of where the production plan would go. And right now we have a German co-producer who was in my cohort. We have heard of the financing in place, maybe a little bit more. I think half. I don't know. It's complicated with production, as you know. And um, also, like, I have like this wealth of experience of a network of people I can contact and talk to. Actually, Renko over here, while Nora was speaking, we were messaging about an editor, about some, some, so it's this little documentary family that you create that I think has great value beyond the other things like the meetings with the decision makers or so on. It basically, and also personally, it gave me confidence that I would love to continue making documentary film or be in this world, because I realized that uh, sometimes when you do this, you feel like you're alone. And I'm sure that this is something that all of us have felt here at some point. And then you go to a place like EuroDoc and you realize, I'm not alone. I'm meeting a lot of other people who are alone in their places in the world. And then we spend some time together and we realize that we can make films and we can help each other make films. So I think that was, in a nutshell, what EURODOC was for me. And if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer. More practical, I went waiting.
Yeah, as for the Adrian, I'm really surprised that you thought that you would be the most inexperienced one. Regarding the project of Adrian, I would say that that EURODOC coming throughout the year, I really saw the development of the project that Adrian did. For example, for the second session, we saw some of the visual materials that text couldn't convey. So this really helped us to understand and really feel for the project that Adrian does. For the last session, as Adrian mentioned, he even found a co-producer in one of the participants that were as a producers as one of us in the EURODOC program. So this really highlights for me that Adrian is the person who not only was given an opportunity, but who got the opportunity and used what he could do during EURODOC. If anybody of you would have some questions to Adrian, we would come back to that. Maybe I can introduce the next person who we can talk to is Kismat. Kismat were based in Egypt. But now she moved to Germany. Actually, Christina and Kismat met before I did during Berlinale Talents. It was the identification for me that EURODOC is not only for the beginner producers, but for the really experienced ones. So Kismat is doing an animation doc with the Egyptian director. And maybe Kismat can share with us the application process that she did when she applied for EURODOC, what she emphasized in and being a producer who supports directors from her own region. Maybe she has some advice for us on how to apply to EURODOC.
Thank you, Dana. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for inviting me in this session. And let me start by saying that I have been producing in Egypt for 10 years, and in Egypt we have a similar landscape. We don't have government support very much, especially for documentaries. It's very hard. We have a commercial sector, but we don't, we have censorship. So they produce very commercial films that are not having any social relevance. So although we have a legacy of filmmaking, but we grow up watching films, our own films, like and not just watching American films or European. So I had this drive that actually Egyptian films can make because they used to be very successful. And I come to Europe with this intention that there is no such thing as this is a local story and audience will be interested. I don't believe in this concept very much because cinema is there to really bridge this gap and to have people know what is really happening in other places. Very fun to connect or in a way to other countries, other cultures, other ways of storytelling, so this is my belief. And in that way, I feel that there is a lot of things that should change. And there are lots of great people, of course. But we should have more faith in our proposition, I would say, the way we want to do things. Because, this is a very changing world anyway. What has been produced before in Europe you can change. And it's a matter of taste, it's a matter of also exposure, it's a matter of marketing. You see how American films, it's just about a lot of spending doing a very smart campaign, but putting a lot of money behind your project, and they will be successful. So there are a lot of elements one should understand and not feel insecure or feel that there's no place for us. There is always a place for us. And in that way, I mean, my journey maybe is a bit different in a way because I moved to Germany and I was co-producing before moving to Germany with Germany. So I understood a little bit the landscape in Germany. It was easier for me to start there. But when I moved, I decided that I want to have also my own company because I was getting a lot of projects from Arab filmmakers that were, or African actually, who were based in Europe, but didn't find a good connection with a producer. I mean, the landscape in Europe, I have to say, is also very challenging. Distribution is very hard, even for their films. So it's not an easy time to be doing films now. So of course, a European producer might not jump on a project right away because already it's harder. If you are coming from another country, you are in a different language, there is much more effort that needs to be done with a foreign project than it is with a European project, for example. So of course, I mean, also European producers are very, especially in documentary, it's not like they have a lot of access to a lot of money. They are also struggling. So it's very normal that they wouldn't maybe choose a difficult project a much harder project. But for me, so I find that with this gap, I have a proposition. I can represent because I have interest in my in my region that I would fight for with more harder projects. So in that way, I started this company, and my mission is to really work with local or authentic filmmakers that make stories about their world. That I'm driven first by this idea of having an Egyptian do a documentary about Egypt rather than having a successful artist on a field. So and I believe also in first timers, I try to also work with women filmmakers, and in that way, I think my motivation letter to EURODOC was interesting. When but in that way, I also feel that really thinking about the why as a producer, why am I doing this? What is different about what I'm doing is important because it's a starting point for people to understand what to bring to the table. And I think with the application, they really look at the motivation letter. It is a very important moment to also reflect on where you are and what you want to do as a producer in the future, and not just with this particular project, and how this project is the project that will really help you make a leap forward. Um, so for the experience itself in EuroDoc, I had done a number of other workshops that were similar. I did Kiavi, and I did another very, very interesting similar workshop, which was only for African projects. So I had also I knew what to expect in a way. And I think it's maybe better to do a short, if it's your first time ever to do a workshop, I wouldn't recommend that you do the year program right away. I would recommend to do maybe the smaller one first, and then do the longer one. Or do maybe a workshop within your region that's a longer period, maybe a similar to work on a project for a long time within your region to get a sense of how this really works. But I agree with you that what you get out of it mostly is based on the group you are in. So I think we were very lucky. We had a great group and with various experiences. And I think this is really the value you bring, you get out, because a mentor is just one person with one experience. But then you have 15 other people that are very similar to you and that have a very similar context or have a lot of things to share. And I think the biggest thing about EURODOC is sharing. And you need to feel very comfortable to be able to share and feel that it's a safe space. And I think it's among our group, I think we felt very much comfortable to share. And that was very, very yeah, I think I talked too much, and if anyone has any more questions, I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy Kismat said about the motivation in the application, because, for example, when we filled out the application for River Dreams, and when we met Nora first time during ITFA Academy, she really emphasized that your personal motivation to work on the project as a producer and your relationships with the director is a really important part of your application that they are looking to. And with Kismat, I really value that there are people in the participants of EURODOC and in the experts of EURODOC who can really understand you on a deeper level of what you're facing as a producer and what is your background. So Kismat is one of the people who can totally relate to us. And I'm thankful for that, to learn that there are people in Europe or in any other continent and country who can share this with us as well. And for Ranko, he's the producer from Netherlands. From the Netherlands, and he is, I think he has the biggest budget from all of the participants from our year, and really successful with fundraising his project. He actually also has an animation documentary, and he's I really would like to know what changed for your project after EURODOC. Maybe you decided to change the strategy of the film, of production, or anything. And maybe you can share on what we did in a group work with Heino and with other participants. What was it look like? What did it look like?
Hi, everyone. I hope my sound is good. Thanks for this session, and very nice to see you again, Dana and Adrian, Kismet. So what can I tell? Of course I'm a bit afraid of echoing everyone who's already like Adrian and Kesmet, and I think you, Dana, like of course I'm going to echo a lot of what's been said already. Maybe it's just a good idea to tell a bit about the group work, specifically like how does it work. I think everyone has it's like from the first day on in the first session, we all have our own projects, and we actually just start more or less telling about our projects. And of course, it's been like sent around already before the session, so everyone or most of the people have read the booklet up front. With all the some people apply with 40 pages like me, because I'm like we are used to apply with a lot of pages, but some luckily are also like applying with much shorter documents, files. But most people have read this, and there's this like there's this really nice discussion, like very constructive, supportive, really sharing your heads, and I think that's like that's the biggest thing you can have, like not like going only in your own brains, like going around and around about this project, but really have this think tank of people, really nice people, with all these different perspectives and backgrounds, thinking along with you, that you don't have to do it all on your own. And of course, because these are long days, it's like 8 hours of discussing. No, that maybe that's a bit exaggerated, but it's like many hours of discussing plans every day, projects. So it's of course you get to know each other very well as well, and that's also good because as Adrian said, and I used to say that a lot as well. I always call it documentary family, with this family reunions on the big festivals or in meetings like this. I think as soon as you're like a filmmaker, you're part of the family, but then you don't know your family yet, or not all of your family. So it's really nice to have these kind of opportunities, these family reunions, to meet your family members, your the other people who are part of your family, and to get to know them. And of course then it's really nice to really get to know, not only we're not only discussing, of course not, if you like have 3 weeks together in a hotel, you're not only discussing things like business or budget or anything, everything related to your project, but also your other job, or like Adrian has a really nice story about, or things like that. So of course you really get to know each other, and that's all very good, because then you know that you it's getting much more easier to send a text to someone that you feel like connected to. So you can send as Aiden just said, we are chatting like almost every day about really small things related to projects we're working on. So that's I think that's the big plus, the big win of participating in a program like this. And I'm already, actually, to be honest, a little bit sad that of course there's many other programs like this, and I will definitely do EAVE in the near future, if they accept me. But I'm already now a bit sad that I never can do EURODOC again. That's it. It's only a one-time thing, because it really is so helpful for your project and yourself, but or for not being alone in a way, but also for your project to have what is it, like, how big is the group? 15 more or less other people with their own experiences, backgrounds, things to share, to think along with you on your very bumpy ride to in producing a film. So I'm not sure if that answered your question exactly, but that's, I think, like mainly my experience with the EURODOC.
Yeah, exactly. What we really need to hear, that how not to be alone, staying alone. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Kesmet, Adrian, and Renko, for sharing this. And I really want to ask Dana, as being the bright final of this session, maybe to share exactly the feelings which you got from the EURODOC. Let's focus only on feelings, okay, on your emotions, and it will be like a psychotherapy final round of our session. Let's go.
Yeah, I was not prepared for the feelings at the end of the session, but I think Renko exactly is really right about that we spent all day at the group sessions, and it felt like that. So if you want to participate in EURODOC to go sightseeing in European countries, it's not the case. You would be at your group sessions from the early morning till the very night, but it is a good thing because you really dive into your projects, and you dive into not only your project but projects of other participants, and I value this as well, because you if you can understand how other people present and see projects that they are making, you can understand the mindset of people who would read your projects. So I really value that we were all open to share what our strategies, what we thought about each other's projects, what was the good cases and bad cases. So this is like the space, it felt like a safe space to do that. I'm talking about only the English group, because most of us only speak English. I would share as well my impression of our mentor, Heino. I really valued that he worked with Ukrainian directors as well, because he can totally understand how the Kazakh film or Uyghur film, any national film studio works in any of our countries, and he could understand the Ministry of Culture and Sports or Information. So he was the person who would understand you when you would be in EURODOC, I really valued that he would be really straightforward with the financing and the way of producing the documentaries that we're making. So this was really a practical feedback that we got. As for the feelings that we got, I got personally after the EURODOC, you asked questions about the how can you preserve the idea of the project, won't be it made Europe centralized and so on. And I felt that in EURODOC you would meet not only people who would be smiley and open and can really understand you, but this is the place when you really see what is the industry look like outside Central Asia. So this would give you the whole understanding of what you have to do in order to be a producer. So it can be frustrating, it can be liberating, it can be exciting, but it is what it is. And I don't think there is any other program that could do that for you, because it is a year-long program. So each session you would learn something new, not only practically like the laws of co-production with a lawyer or how to work with the editor after, but really the feeling and the changes of the industry that you will work in. So this is the feelings that I got. And also I would like to highlight the not only that we, as Nora said, we not only had the group works, we had the case studies. You can understand that for us, when we screen any films in any of our countries and speak with the director, it's mostly the reminiscing, the story tales of how the film was made. But the case studies in EURODOC with the producers, they were really, really helpful for us to understand how did this film from the beginning to the very premiere, how did the producer worked with that. So this was really a case study when you understood what you have to do in order to make your film just like the one you just saw on the screen. So yeah, this is the feeling that I got, and I believe that what we have as participants of EURODOC is a long relationships. So I really feel special to know all of you, and for sure you would be the first people who I will go to if I would like to do a co-production in the future. So this is the really the feelings of my heart that I have after the what we did together in the program.
Yep, amazing. So actually you are done like in time, minute and minute.
Wow.
So we expected this session until the like 6 and in our Almaty time. And if some of you guys are not so tired to ask question, and maybe you have some passion inside you to share, or if you would like to ask question, then go forward. You're welcome. But just give me a sign. I will give you 1 second, one more. And if you don't have any questions, then I will slowly wrap up the session, because actually we today shared a lot of information with each other. And I really believe that this information will help your beautiful projects finally to be on the screen on the festivals and our local cinemas. So really believe, keep my fingers crossed. And if you have still have any questions, just drop a line for us and we will answer for sure. Okay? Yep.
Yeah, maybe if as a final say for the application itself, I would say that Nora is super right about the applying and maybe not getting into the first time. We with Christina applied and got in EURODOC with the second application, and I really believe that meeting Nora and Marie, other team member of EURODOC during the Doc Leipzig, really helped us to be seen. So not feel discouraged if you will not get into the first time. If it for sure would help you, and it would help you to understand how to present your project for any other application as well. Yeah. If you don't have any questions, we would be happy to finish the session for today. I'm so happy that so many of you left till the end. And it is almost night here in Almaty and for most of our countries as well. So I'm really happy that you shared this evening with us, and all of the luck to all of you for the application that you will have. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.